Hi, Ukulele Mike here. In our second ukulele refresher lesson, this one is on proper fretting technique. The way that you fret the instrument is essential to a good, clean sound to your playing. And I'd like to cover a couple of elements about the frets and how we want to place our fingers on the frets and whatnot. The frets are the metal wires that go across horizontally across the fingerboard all the way up. Now on the tenor, which I've got a tenor uke here, this has got 14 frets up where the neck meets the body. Okay. Now if you have a cutaway, like this one doesn't, but if you had a cutaway uke, there would be more frets up here available. These are available, but you have to reach over the top to get them. But typically on a tenor, there are 14 frets up to the body. On a standard soprano ukulele, such as this, and you can see the difference in the size between the soprano and the tenor, there are 12 frets. A little bit shorter, okay? So that's the only difference in the two in terms of the amount of frets that are placed on the fingerboard. Now, a little bit about the numbering of the frets. The frets are numbered 1 through 12 or 1 through 14 going in this direction towards the body. And whenever we use the term go up to the third fret, up means this way, okay? Because it means you're going up in pitch. Even though it feels like you're going down the string, you're actually going up in pitch. So this would be the first fret, this would be the second, this would be the third and fourth. Now, one misunderstanding that I have had experience with a lot of students is when you say, put your finger on the first fret. We don't want you to put your finger right on top of that fret. That is not a good place to put that finger. What we are really saying is put your finger on the string, whichever string it is, first, second, third, fourth, so that it touches the string, that is, touches the first fret. So what you're doing is you're just pressing down the string so that it touches the first fret. You don't want to really physically put your index finger on the first fret. If you do that, you're likely to get a kind of a thuddy sound like that, a dead, muted sound. You want to have your finger behind the fret. But you want to hold the string down securely enough so that it touches the fret and doesn't allow the string to rattle. And if you don't push it down hard enough, it also will mute it. So you want to hold it down securely so you got a good clean sound. You want to put your finger behind the fret, but not way up here towards the top. So you want it kind of close to the fret. That's the best optimum place to put your finger, however you're fingering that chord. So if I'm playing a G chord like this, I want to have my fingers close to the frets, not back here, because then you run into the problem of possibly putting those fingers on these frets up here. You want it just behind the frets that are to be touched by the strings. Okay? Another little thing about the fretting of the instrument is that when you're playing multiple fingers on the ukulele, that you want to make sure that they're all equally held down. And so one of the tendencies in beginning playing is to hold the fingers down, and then maybe like one finger will be not quite so tight. So you have the first string sounds fine, third string sounds fine, second string not so good. So when you are practicing, and particularly in the beginning stages, when you make a chord, go and play each string individually to make sure that they're all clean and clearly heard. If they're not, then look to see which finger is not doing its job, and then alter the pressure on that finger or the position against the fret on that particular string until you get all the strings sounding clear. By the way, this ukulele is tuned to a low G, so that's why it may sound a little different than yours. One other thing about the frets that would take note here is that sometimes you'll get an ukulele that has kind of sharp edges on the frets. A good ukulele that's set up well has the frets dressed in a sense. They're rounded off so that you don't have those sharp edges as you're working your way up the fretboard. So if they do have sharp edges, you can take them to a luthier or guitar repair place or whatever, and they can very easily file those down and make them smoother for you so that you don't have the problems with those little edges on the frets. And that's also one little quality you might be looking into when you're purchasing ukulele, is to look for how the edges of the frets feel. If they feel sharp and pointy and whatever, then that's usually a sign that the ukulele is not set up properly, and you might want to avoid that kind of an instrument and go for one that does do that, in fact. So there's just a little refresher on the ukulele for number 2, refresher that talks about proper fretting. If you've got any other concerns or questions that you would like me to cover in these refresher lessons, please email me, mike@ukulelemikeLynch.com, and you can send me your suggestions and I take them seriously. So have fun with it, and as always, happy strumming.